It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's our goal. Hey, it's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show. Hey.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Breaking Bread with Tom Papa. I am Tom Papa. I am more than excited today. This may be the biggest celebrity I think we've ever had on the podcast.
Oh man, I don't know if you. Wow, that's pretty bold.
Yeah, this is pretty big. You've heard me talk about my Peloton adventures as I've dialed in, and that was the thing that kept me going pretty much from before the pandemic right through today. And this one person, this one coach, has been my lifeline, my mentor. And it's funny. People listen to the podcast and my radio shows and whatever, stand up, and they think that we're friends because they watch me all the time. Well, I feel the same way about Matt Wilpers, who is, in my opinion, the best coach on Peloton and my best friend, because I've been with him for 229 weeks straight.
Yeah, it's
amazing. Welcome, Matt Wilpers.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here.
It really is. I mean, it has to happen to you all the time, where people think like they know you.
Yeah, there's a look.
Yeah.
There's a look. You get the look, and you're like, okay, I know where this is going. So.
Yeah, because you spend so much time together.
Yeah.
And this is also video where it's more intense than what I do, because you're looking right into the camera on the bike, and they're looking right back at you.
It's were they breaking the third wall? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. Fourth wall.
I'm an accounting major. Just kidding.
Well, I am literally, let me open my app.
Okay.
I'm on my little Peloton app. This has been a lifesaver. No case.
Wow.
No.
Oh, man.
What am I, a baby? 227 week streak. So that means
That's amazing.
at least once a week.
Good job.
That's like 4 years.
That's great.
Now, here's my first question.
Okay, bring it.
227 weeks. It's a little over 4 years.
Okay.
I think my total rides is like 600 something.
Okay.
How, when you do what do you call them? Not the shout outs, the achievements that people have.
Oh, milestones.
Milestones.
Yeah.
When you say to people, I'll be out there pedaling around, feeling pretty proud of myself, and you're like, okay, Harry, 2,500 rides. Denise, 1,500 rides. Can that be possible?
Yeah.
How do you get 2,500 rides? I mean, I'm pretty dedicated.
For
4 years, and I'm at like 600 something.
Well, I've been here for 7 years, so there's been people riding for longer than you.
Yeah.
But then there's also people that ride like every day.
Every day.
Every single day, and sometimes more than once a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And that was a big transition for me, coming from working in like gyms and outside of Peloton to Peloton. It's like, as a coach, you're dealing with people that don't just see you once a week or twice.
Right.
They're seeing you every day.
Every day.
So you have to think about, okay, well, am I training in the right way? Am I providing the right training?
Right.
And that's where endurance rides came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? To balance it out?
Well, so the bread and butter of training is endurance, is lower intensity work.
Right.
And then you sprinkle in some higher intensity to really put the gas pedal down a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can't do all high intensity stuff. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a train wreck.
Yeah. No.
But the problem is with endurance stuff is that it can be it's really boring for people to it can be really boring to teach for some folks.
Uh-huh.
And so it's my job to make it entertaining.
You do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
The energy, because I'll end up doing sometimes more endurance and I forget about the other stuff, because you have such a good way of making it feel exciting. You feel like you're like doing more than you are actually.
All right, great.
And I know that because last week you did this brutal workout. I was gassed to begin with because I had been traveling and I drank the night before, not a lot, but I had a drink, which is now the impact of one drink.
I hear you. I'm right there with you.
It's so ridiculous.
It's insane. Alcohol is crazy.
It's really bad. And great. And and I was gassed, and after my radio show I jumped on, and you had this workout with the powers where you went up to level 6. You were punching up into level 6 a lot last week.
It was the one. Was it 1-2-2-1 or were we?
Yeah. No, 2. No, it was like 2-2-3.
Oh, ouch. No, it couldn't be that much. It was a Power Zone, right? Not a Power Zone Max.
It was Power Zone, just Power Zone.
Just Power Zone. So it was. I think it was. It was probably 1-1-2-2 1-1 or something like that.
1-1-2-2. So okay. So 2 minutes in levels.
The max I would take you in a Power Zone ride would be 2 minutes and 6.
2 minutes and 6.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. It was like I just started. I was a baby. I was yelling your name in my room, going, "I'm sorry, Matt. I can't do it. I really can't do it." I was so gassed. Oh, it was brutal.
Well, it's good. Like it's good though to step outside your comfort zone and do some rides like that because it's. I mean, number one, it puts the accelerator in your fitness. But it's good to have some high intensity work in there to help improve your VO2 max too. You're probably a little bit out of breath, and that's good for your body. A little bit of that's helpful.
No, 100%. But I'm so upset with myself. I still am. I don't think I've been on the bike since.
What?
Because I was on the road.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And so when I'm on the road, I use the app and sync up different workouts. And it's been this whole Peloton thing. And this is going to sound like an ad for Peloton for the entire episode, but they're not paying me a dime yet. Yeah, I want names. It is really. I was an athlete my whole life and then a comic and always kind of like, dabbling a little bit, trying to stay on track and then falling off and trying to stay on track. And maybe I'd run, maybe I'd join a gym for a little bit. The Peloton thing, the way that it hooks you and motivates you, I mean, it's really been the most effective form of working out. Whether I'm on the road, whether I'm home, whether it's hot out, cold out, whatever.
That's great.
It really is.
What does your on the road look like for working out?
When I'm on the road, thank God, the tentacles of Peloton have spread far and wide. I stay in a hotel here in New York, and there's 2 bikes in there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. One has a seat that keeps falling down, and I keep complaining and trying to get them to fix it. So if I can find the bike, I find it. And then the other thing is running. I'll try and run when I'm on the road. Okay.
I find like working out on the road so hard.
It's really hard.
It's really hard. Yeah.
But if you can get into the mindset of it, it makes travel so much easier. It's like all these things in life. Like you think that this is going to be the thing. If I work out on the road, I'm going to have a horrible show because I'm going to be more exhausted. And of course, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
The total opposite. If I don't work out, I get all kind of depressed and quiet and whatever. So now I'm wearing my stupid running shoes.
There we go.
As fashion.
Brooks. There we go.
Ridiculous.
Hey.
I used to be classy walking through the airports, and now I look like all these other schlubs walking around in their New Balance.
New Balance.
I'm so depressed with myself.
For me, I see everyone wearing Hokas now.
Yeah, I know. My wife got those. She looks like an elf. She's got those giant boots.
Yeah.
People love them, but they're heavy. They're kind of heavy.
Well, no, actually,
no.
I think one of the cool things about Hokas, I'm not getting paid a dime, but they're
these are just things we love.
Yeah, things we love, but they're actually lightweight cushion shoes, which is like I think Hoka was the first ones that really did that because they were grounded in like the ultra community.
Oh.
And the ultra people love them, and I was just like, well, if they're running 100 miles, I think that my 6-mile run could really love some Hokas.
Jeez.
But
I don't know if I could do it. I used to wear boots. I feel like I should be a gentleman out there on the road. And
especially in New York City.
I know.
In Georgia, I used to walk outside my door in my pajamas and hide in my car. And now I'm like, I walk outside my front doors and
people see you.
A Peloton rider comes by, like, hey, Matt, click, click, click. I'm like, oh, no.
I know, you got to be ready as soon as you step out.
And like, we have a dog, so like, even walking the dog is a scene.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, I gotta be ready.
I feel like I'm kind of hanging on to dressing like a gentleman, like above the shoes.
Yeah.
But I really should just maybe dress like an athlete. Like at least you can just throw on your athletic stuff and look cool.
Yeah.
I can't be like walking around with my hat and my running shoes. This is a conflict.
I don't know.
It's a big problem I
It's
have.
new style. You should go for it.
So you started out in, you grew up in Atlanta or outside of Atlanta?
Outside of Atlanta in Marietta, Cobb County.
Nice. And were you just a crazy energy-filled kid immediately? Were you just...
Yeah. My parents, I guess my mom always said, she's just like, well, these kids have so much energy, we have to do something with them.
Yeah.
And so we were literally in every sport there was. I think at one point I was playing on a club soccer team, maybe 2 club soccer teams at one point. Tennis as well.
Uh-huh.
And then, tennis, soccer, like 2 teams, because there's high school, then there's club.
Uh-huh.
And then every once in a while, you do wakeboard in the summer. But then I was on tennis, soccer, hockey at one point. I competed in hockey. I competed in...
You didn't run?
Running in high school, not until high school. And then, the list goes on and on. I've competed in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Basketball too, but my last season of basketball was pretty sad.
Why?
So, I didn't score a point. All the kids grew up, and I was great at running the ball up and down the court, but I'd have to hand it off because I would just get swatted.
Right.
So that was the first to go. And then every kid starts off playing soccer and baseball in Georgia, so I played baseball. And then all the kids grew up and started pitching 60, 70 miles an hour, and I was like, that's just not gonna work.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Where can I run by myself?
Yeah. So
You have siblings?
I do have older sister Emily.
Older sister Emily.
Yeah.
Nice. I like when your mom, I haven't hear it as often, but then she would show up at class when you'd be like your mom.
She's been traveling. She was just in Africa.
Was she really?
She's actually at the airport right now. She just called me this morning.
Oh man.
She's on a layover in Newark, and they lost her bags. And I'm like, so are you coming over tonight? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. She doesn't have a home.
She's busy. She's so busy. So she hasn't been riding because she's been traveling so much.
Right. But. So where did you get you have a there's an ease to what you do. There's a love for what you do, and you also have a kind of you're an accountant. You have a bit of a analytical head. It almost seems like there was more of a military background in a way. Did you have like a strict upbringing, or did you have where did the motivation, where did the dedication mindset come from? Because I know you don't just develop that as an adult. You had that.
Well, as an athlete, I was a college athlete, and it was just the first thing I realized was when I started coaching athletes that weren't college athletes was that the mental space is totally different. Like people, it's just like they want like some kind of motivation to do a workout. I'm like, that is very fleeting. Like you were there. Like the workout has to be done. Like
right,
you do it.
Yeah,
and there's just no questions. Like
right,
you can feel terrible all you want, but like it's getting done.
Right.
And then that was the first thing I noticed when I was coaching people outside of college. I was like, wow, this is totally different. So you had to get inside people's heads in a different way.
Because for you, being an athlete, you didn't need that. You just had that.
Yeah, that was just the way it was.
Right.
And you'll get to talk to any athlete. Now, like there's this guy I work with at Peloton, Alex Karwowski. He's a Olympic athlete, and spend a day with this guy, and it's just like the workouts he does are insane.
Really.
And there's no like I don't feel like it. Blah blah. No.
Yeah.
He's on the rower, killing it, no matter what. And then you ask him, like, I felt terrible. I'm like, I had no idea. And so it's anyway. So I think that drive, that discipline comes from just time being an athlete my whole life.
Right.
And then, but the love for it, I started my career in public accounting, and then outside of public accounting, before work at 5:00 in the morning, I'd be out in Central Park coaching people.
Oh, you came to New York that early?
I came to New York in 2007.
Okay.
And I was a CPA working for KPMG actually.
Okay.
And then I got into coaching because I got injured training, getting ready for Boston. And so I was like, I gotta maybe it's like how parents like live their lives through their kids. Like I live my life through my athletes. So I got out there and I was coaching, and I was just like, gosh, I really like have a gift here for being able to help people.
Yeah.
And I just really loved it. And so I think that's where that.
That's amazing. So you discovered that at what age? So that's
I discovered that. Wow, I guess I was in my mid to late 20s.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow, I really like helping people. I want to make a living out of helping people. And,
right.
And yeah, so.
That's so great. That's amazing. I love those moments when you discover something that you don't even know about yourself.
Yeah, and
right?
Late 20, like I feel like so many people. I don't know about when did you decide to become a comedian?
Like 7th grade.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. When I learned that it was a job that adults had, like adults did it for a living, because I was always funny.
Yeah.
And then when I learned the summer of 7th grade that grown-ups had this as a job, that was it. I was like,
awesome.
I'm just going to head towards that.
So that was like what you just drove towards that the whole time?
The whole time. You had to do other things. You had to get jobs. You had to do whatever, go to school. But it was always,
That's great.
We're going to end up there.
I mean, my college career, I started looking at computer science.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, okay, it's either going to be medicine or business.
Right.
And I was in school when, Enron and all that stuff happened. So like accounting was like this big, they said sexy thing. And I'm like, sexy and accounting in the same sentence?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. so anyway, that's how I got sucked in. But at the same time, I really enjoyed it academically.
Yeah.
But then the lifestyle just wasn't for me. It was, and I wanted to be out working with people and challenged academically.
The idea of you sitting like at a desk all day is impossible to even conjure.
Well, strangely,
like
I still do a lot of it.
Do you?
Oh yeah, Peloton. I'm working at Peloton. There's a lot of time at the desk.
Oh really?
Yeah, planning classes, mostly music work.
Oh.
And then still have to do a lot of things that emails and everything else.
Oh
so.
Man.
It gets to everybody.
Yeah, I know. Look, I had my laptop out before you got here. It's the same thing.
So
what do you mean music work?
It's writing a workout is one thing, but doing the music behind it is a whole other world.
You have to sync it up yourself?
Yeah.
To figure it out and the timing of it and all that?
I do that in Excel.
You do it on Excel?
Well, so Peloton's created our own internal system, and they've done a pretty awesome job of like making our jobs a little bit easier when it comes to syncing things up. But when I do a structured workout, I like to build it out in Excel because I can literally plug and play and figure out what songs are when are things gonna hit, when are things gonna fade out. That way it's like, the intervals are being supported by the music.
Right. Yeah. You do a good job of it, but I have to say, no. And I was thinking about this morning because I don't want to. This is just my style of Peloton. Is I don't need a real big party on the bike.
Yeah.
I don't need to have a lot of spiritual motivation. And I was with my buddy, my opening act this weekend, and he was saying he loves that part of it. He loves when people are like telling you to be the best you, and some of the teachers like really tell you like. I'm like, I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I love your classes because it's like the music is great, but you're always like, you can be on the beat or not. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to be on the beat. I don't really know what the beat is.
Man, you had Emma Level on the podcast, and she's who taught me about that stuff.
Yeah, and she's great at it.
Oh, she's so musically like gifted.
Yeah,
it's insane.
I think that horrible workout that you made me do the other day was her playlist, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, she put the music in.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, here's the class plan, and here's can you help me with the playlist? And we swapped. I gave her the workout, and I got all kinds of hate mail from her people about the workout.
Because it was so hard.
It was like a Hidden Hills workout, and I did a ton. We think we did like 20 something intervals in that class.
Oh really?
But no, it was fun. I mean, it's fun to that's one of the fun things about working at Peloton is just like a lot of us are polar opposites.
Yeah. Well, it's great. I mean, the range of it's great. I mean, even because when you branch out from just the cycling, which I'll do like yoga or strength workouts or stuff when I'm on the road, which is really great and helpful, and you get introduced to a lot of different. I forget his name. He's really tall guy, and he did an
Adrian Williams, African American.
He did no. He's a white guy. And he did a wicked workout. It was all
Matty
Magiacomo.
Oh
my God,
he's amazing.
He's so great. He's so funny because, coming up in New York, you're surrounded by all theater people and stuff. And he's just like, he comes out, we're doing Wicked today. And I'm like, it's really, and by like 30 seconds in, he's kicked my ass.
Yeah.
I'm shaking. And he's just still having fun with Wicked. Gosh, yeah.
I feel like that's so cool though, right?
The coolest. Yeah. Just completely being open to all these different people.
Have you seen when he dresses up as marathoner?
No.
The drag queen?
No.
Oh, it's my favorite.
What do you mean? What's he do?
What marathoner? He dresses up and it is like next level.
Oh, really?
If you haven't seen it yet, you have to see it.
All right.
The first time he did it, I just sat there like watched it on my phone. The first time I was like, this is incredible. So anyways, it was lovely.
He's so great. No. And he has the thing that you have where you're in the middle of really intense workouts and the instructor looks like they're not even short of breath. Like he's so strong. He's like secret strong.
Yeah, he's built. That guy's built.
Yeah. So crazy.
I'm usually covered in sweat. I sweat a ton.
I know. How far it's really technically astounding to me, and I've learned this just from this experience, was of how on point, how in sync we all are physically. Like when you do the warm-ups, and even like with the power zone, like we all are like, when you're done with the warm-ups, you've set it up and we're all warmed up. We've all started sweating at around the same couple of minutes. Yeah. We've all really kind of like, it's eerie almost.
Yeah.
How the human body is, even though we're different shapes and sizes and different levels of fitness, we all kind of are in sync. Like when you set these up, do you have that in your mind? Like,
yeah. I developed that whole warm-up protocol over, like, before I came to Peloton, I was teaching, obviously, in group fitness classes in gyms, but also what used to be more prevalent was CompuTrainer studios. Uh-huh. And so I would go through all these different protocols that coaches would use to warm their athletes up for their very high-end athletes that were focusing on, like, Ironmans and whatever else. And I was just like, well, if you look at the protocols that are being used to test cyclists, why are we using all these different protocols when we could use that protocol, get them accustomed to that protocol that they're going to be using for testing anyways? Uh-huh. It's really effective.
Right.
And use that in other classes and to get them warmed up for any class.
Yeah.
And that's what I ended up doing, but for a couple reasons. Number one, it was effective. Number two, I needed a way of bringing in people that are new to power zone training. Mm-hmm. So there's this last part of that warm up that's called the build.
Right.
And that's where people that have their power zones dialed in know what they're doing, but the people that don't can set benchmarks.
Right.
And that has to exist if we want to keep bringing people into power zone training, so that they're going through class with benchmarks to look at.
Right.
So that's kind of like where that came from. But they're all protocols that came out of working with competitive athletes and then looking at coaching manuals and then understanding that the average human body takes at least 10 to 15 minutes to get warmed up.
Right. It's so great. I mean, the elimination of the mental gymnastics you have to do, like within the workout, just seeing your zones, hitting them, being told, just do this, just do that, and not having to think about it. It's so great.
We're working on some cool stuff to make it better.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
I can't talk about it.
Ah, come on.
I tease you a little bit.
I haven't done the long rides, the hour or 2 hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, do an endurance one. You're going to love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing how quick it goes. Like 45 minutes is like...
Just think about this too. Like when you do these endurance rides, think about like your energy capacity for life, everyday life. Uh-huh. And you go do a 60-minute ride, a 45-minute ride, and like when you start to build that aerobic or energetic capacity by doing a longer ride, you're gonna have more energy for everything else in life.
Right.
So do a longer ride and maybe once a week. Once a week is a great time to do it, like on a Saturday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna see a residual benefit the rest of your week, and you're gonna be like, that really did make a difference.
Really?
So, because in running and cycling and almost any endurance sport, there's 2 to 3 shorter workouts that are high quality intensity workouts during the week typically, and one long something on the weekend.
Right.
For a reason. It really builds that capacity.
It's so interesting because, like, the mindset is do a longer one because it's going to improve your life for the rest of the week. And when I hear an hour workout, I think, how am I going to fit that into my life? It's impossible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think of it as the benefit that I'm going to get out of it. It's really, how am I going to just wrestle this bear and get it out of the way?
Get it done first thing. That's why I do it in the morning. But it's it makes such a difference. I mean, my job is to get inside people's heads and bring out your inner motivation. Some people, it's like the rest of the week you're gonna feel better because it's workout.
Yeah.
But from an athletic standpoint, like one of the things as a coach, one of my missions is like we need to be exercising. But if we take our exercise and we flip it on its head and we call it training, and we train towards specific goals and targets, that's way more fun than just exercising.
Yeah.
So if you look at it from that perspective, like from a performance standpoint, you'll see a major pop in your performance simply by doing a longer workout every single week.
Right.
At least one. One big one every week.
Wow. It's so good.
So depends on which way you're looking at life. You're going to feel better the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Performance, it's going to really pop your performance.
Life is really, all kidding aside, when the pandemic hit and it was like, at first I was actually into running. I got the Peloton for my wife. And
so typical.
Yeah.
This is like, we're here all the time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And she kind of fell off it. She, not literally, but she likes other people around all the time. She likes a Pilates class she can
I totally hear that.
compete and kick ass on the other moms. That's her whole mentality. So I started kind of using it a little bit. And then when the pandemic hit and it got weird to even run around your neighborhood.
Yes.
That weird period.
Oh, I never forget it.
When all of a sudden it was like you couldn't run without a mask, or it was like
you run past someone, they go like this.
Yeah, it got really weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is perfect. Let's jump on the bike. And I had so many people, because I kept doing the radio show. So I was talking with people all the time. People were Zooming, and people were really struggling, and people were like getting depressed and getting scared. And it was a lifelong thing that I kind of knew but had forgotten and relearned, that getting on that bike just kept me sane. There was no stress. There was no anxiety. Every workout was just resetting and making your life normal in this crazy time.
Yeah.
It was powerful.
That's awesome. I mean, that's one of the benefits of exercise, and they're finding out more and more about. This is one of the things, like, I was on my way to going to med school, and as like doing my career shift from accounting to med school, and long story short, ended up Peloton right before that happened, and the reason was I wanted to bring fitness and medicine closer together, and I'm part of my mission in fitness is to do that. Is like it absolutely does help you reset from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint.
Yeah,
so it's great to hear.
100%.
It's awesome.
And it's amazing how dumb human beings are, in that you can learn this valuable lesson and then forget it, and then be like sitting in a hotel somewhere on the road and be like, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't know.
It's
what am I
counterintuitive.
doing?" And then if you have to like smack yourself and be like, "You didn't work out."
Yeah.
It's easy to tell other people.
Yeah.
It's so easy. My daughter's athletic, and whenever she gets moody, I'm like, "Have you been working out?" "No, it's been a couple of days." "Get in the gym." And I know. And then she calls, and she's great. But no one's calling me and saying.
Have you ever had a coach?
No.
I think
you're the closest thing I've had to a coach.
Oh my gosh, I think everyone should in their life should have a coach sometime.
Mike, if you can get Matt's number before he leaves.
Yeah.
I just got a new coach.
it's because then you'll have that person to talk to, like
right
every week, to say, hey, like, what did you do?
Right.
Tracking your progress,
Mm-hmm.
but then also like, here's some thoughts for next week.
Right.
And to just like coaching for anything.
Yeah.
But even I have a coach.
You do?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
what are you doing? What is Matt Wilpers doing as a workbout?
So right now,
or like as a program.
So right now I'm it's my off season, and then starting in the spring, I'm gonna be getting ready for some marathons.
Yeah. What did you do this year?
I did.
I always hear like, oh, I just got back from whatever, or you see on Instagram, I just did a whatever, but lay it out.
Yeah, I think, let me recall it all. I did Ironman 70.3 in Augusta, Maine. So it was a half Ironman. And then I did the Lehigh Grand Fondo 50-mile bike ride race. Greenville Hincapie Grand Fondo, which was 80-mile bike race. And then I did the mile race with New York Road Runners, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I know I'm forgetting some other things right now, but that's some of it.
Yeah. And all those things kind of.
Oh, and I did a 5K the day before New York City Marathon,
Uh-huh.
which is like.
Did you do the marathon?
No, I did the New York City Marathon last year.
Yeah.
And it was exceptionally hot.
Uh-huh.
And so I had cramps and muscles I didn't even know had existed.
Really?
And so I just needed a year off from marathons.
Yeah.
So I did the 5K the day before.
Oh, okay.
So that was fun.
That's cool.
I did that. So it was good. And then the New York City half marathon I did last year.
Man, I've never done. I've just hit the age where I've never done a marathon, but I always had in my head like I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it. And this is the first year where I'm like, I probably can't do it.
No, it's totally doable. How much do you run a week?
It depends. It's 3-mile runs.
Okay.
And
that's great.
maybe 1 to 2.
Okay.
And then get on the bike 2.
Okay.
To 3. If I'm home, my tour schedule has been so insane.
See that, yeah.
From the end of September to now,
Wow.
it was really, really intense. But when I'm home and it's just in a regular routine where I can just go out on the weekends, I just try and do cardio 3 times a week.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
The strength part is the thing I really have to dial in, but my elbow hurts.
What's wrong with your elbow?
I think I have tennis elbow from doing the carry-on off the overhead.
Oh my gosh.
And on the thing, I'm always constantly flipping this heavy bag.
Oh no.
And it's just starting to like feel a little better.
Oh,
I don't know if I should be working out and strengthening everything to go and go through it, or if I should be giving it time off.
Total, strength, mobility, cardio.
Yeah.
And of course, tying that in with a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing how much strength work helps.
Yeah.
It's like strength work, mobility. If there's 2 things for like guys that are aging outside of cardio, you got to get strength, you got to get mobility work in.
Yeah.
It will make you feel amazing.
What do you mean mobility?
Mobility, like stretching, yoga.
Yoga?
Like even like yoga or just spending time stretching.
Yeah. Man, I did yoga hardcore for
Really?
years, and again, the dumb human being, it was the best. I never felt better in my life.
Right.
I had been like
Aches and pains gone.
stress gone,
Yeah.
like a level of stress diffused.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's amazing.
It really is amazing.
But then, so the strength training, like for example, say like when I have runners, they have like a knee hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always think about, okay, first things first, like get the inflammation down, but second, strengthen all the muscles and muscles that are going into that joint. And so that will help offset some of the work, the load going into that joint.
Right.
And so it'll alleviate some pressure. And so same thing with your arm. It's like your elbow, thinking about strengthening all the muscles that are going in.
That's what I've been thinking about. See, I'm not so stupid.
No.
I've been thinking I've got my baby triceps. I've got my baby neck.
I got baby legs. It's okay. I got little pencil legs. I couldn't get my legs bigger if I count on my life. So I hear you.
You know what? The 4 years on the bike, I have legs now. Like I had legs, but now like actually, I'm like, why am I a little heavier when I'm in better shape? And it's like my legs are bigger.
Body comp, and that was one of the first things I had to battle at Peloton. Was people were like staring at the scale all the time. I was like, focus on performance versus staring at the scale, because your body comp is going to change,
right?
And the scale is going to lie. Like you're going to be getting healthier and fitter, but the scale's not going to tell you that,
right?
Because inside your fat's being turned to muscle. Muscle's heavier than fat.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. The whole experience is so great, and I'm gonna do to you what I do to most people. And I'm gonna. I was like, I shouldn't bring Matt something. He's in such great shape.
Oh gosh, I brought you something.
I bake bread like crazy. That's where this whole podcast came from. So here's a bread for you.
Is this sourdough?
It is it's a country loaf. I got it from Vesuvio Bakery.
All right.
Because I'm here in New York.
Are we
I live
eating
in
this
LA.
now?
No, you're not.
Okay.
You're gonna bring it home, and I don't want to know if you ate it or not. I'm just gonna assume you did. And there's a chocolate chip cookie.
Oh my! See, all right. Well, thank you. I brought to you some chocolate croissants from my favorite.
Oh boy.
French bakery in the city.
Oh my God.
And my wife and I found that not long after we moved to Chelsea, and love that.
You live in Chelsea?
Yeah.
I lived in Chelsea for a long time.
It's that bakery is.
Wow, these smell really good.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I have no idea, but it's amazing.
The Day Fred.
Exactly. Well, thank you for this. Good.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. This is awesome.
Let's talk about alcohol.
Oh wow, here we go.
Let's talk about alcohol. Yeah. There's this guy on Instagram, this doctor guy, bald guy. He looks a little like Yoda.
Peter Attia.
Maybe. Yeah. I wouldn't know if you.
Probably.
And he just gives like little tips of what why sugar's bad and what things like that. And he said that he believes that there's going to come a time when we talk about alcohol in the same way that we talk about cigarettes.
Yes.
That, oh my God, I can't believe we did that. It's so bad for you. Do you believe that?
I mean, so I'm reading Peter Attia's book, Outlive, right now. And it's he's a physician turned, he calls it medicine 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks a lot about alcohol and its impact and looking at the studies, because for a while they were saying, oh, you can have like a glass of wine a day and that's actually healthy.
Yeah.
No, and what he's saying is that there's no amount of alcohol that's healthy.
Right.
And I believe that.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you had a glass of wine yesterday or something, and so did I at my dinner last night with some friends. And,
yeah.
And my sleep was awful because of it.
One glass.
Yeah, one.
Is that what you had? One glass.
Yeah, one glass.
Your sleep is different.
Sleep was terrible, and so if
wait. Did you also have sugar? Did you have dessert?
I did, and so sugar's not good for you.
I think that combo is.
The combo's bad.
Bad.
That makes sense.
What time of night?
This was, oh man, I'm embarrassed.
Why?
This is like early bird special. It was like
I'm with
5:45.
Yeah, no, that's late.
That's late. That was that.
No, because I think my cousin likes a cocktail, but he's getting older, and he's like, the cocktail hour is at 5 for a reason.
Yeah.
Because if you can just have that one and then stop, and then have a regular meal and do whatever and go for a walk, your sleep won't be bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, 5:45 I think is okay. But also that combination.
Yeah.
Going out with friends. This is the bummer. This is the cultural bummer, is that we had dinner with our friends last Tuesday, and I know that going to dinner with my friends on that Tuesday is going to wreck my week, because we're going to go out, we're going to have a martini, then we're going to have a steak because we're at the steakhouse, trying out this new steakhouse, and then someone's going to bring out a stupid dessert. I'll probably have a glass of wine when the meal comes, and that night is going to suck, and my next day is going to suck. By the way, this is the one leading up to that workout where you kicked my ass. It was that next day. It was horrible. Yeah, it reset me for sure, but the impact of just to make it more simple, if I have one drink now, I know that it's not as nice a next day.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. Like one of the things in the book is like he's talked about is that with lower amounts of alcohol he believes you can offset some of the negative impacts with exercise. He believes that exercise is almost more important than nutrition in terms of like health span and longevity. And so exercise is super important, but then low amounts of alcohol can be offset theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, like, I think that for me, as I get older, the hardest thing has become sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is so difficult. And if you're not sleeping well and not like that will impact things tremendously.
Yeah.
So then it becomes like, okay, well, if I have this alcohol, then it's going to impact my sleep, and I'm already having a hard time sleeping. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. these things, but then you're with your friends,
Yeah.
and they open up a nice bottle of wine. All right.
And this is what, there's this company called Whoop. Have you heard of Whoop?
No.
So Whoop, it was like in the fitness space, they basically started quantifying.
Oh, the watch.
Yeah, it's not even a watch. It's just like a plastic thing that reads to your, that looks at your heart rate and HRV. They call it heart rate variability, and it connects to your phone, and it basically quantifies the quality of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Because say I'm coaching a team, and we go through all this great training, but then the athletes are going out and partying at night, not recovering.
Right.
Well, they're not gonna absorb anything that they did in their training, because their recovery is where absorption happens and healing happens. And so the coach can say, well, you guys are not recovering. What's going on? Like, oh, you're partying every night. Well, that's got to stop.
Oh.
And so but now this is available for everybody.
Wait, if I can interrupt, the benefits of the fitness is in the recovery also?
Yes. So when we think about fitness and doing a workout, we break our bodies down to be built back up, right?
Right.
And that happens in the healing process, which is primarily during your sleep and recovery. So you always want to think about quality recovery. So when you watch the Tour de France,
right,
that is basically in between races is another race, and there's the race to recover. And so if you quantify that and you start to really see the quality of your recovery, the faster you recover, the faster you can get back to training, the faster you can put more volume on your body, and the faster you can get better.
Well, that's why within all of the steroid era in baseball and the Tour de France, it was all about these guys have skills. Barry Bonds is going to hit home runs. He's going to do all this stuff. But being able to maintain and recover throughout a whole season, that was the trick of it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Whoop. And so Whoop tells us that. And so they're looking at, the big thing I found with having a Whoop was like, oh, wow. Like everyone that's ever had a Whoop was like, I never realized how bad alcohol was for you. Destroys your sleep. Like, because they were the first ones to really like dial in and like quantify like how well you slept.
Right.
And you look at your HRV scores next year and you're like, well, I can't, this is insane.
Really?
And so, because here you are, you thinking, have a sip of wine or whatever, and you're like, oh, I'm out, I'm sleeping, but you're not really sleeping. Like
Yeah, I know it. That was the thing also with my elbow. And it keeps bringing back to my elbow. But when I drink, I'm sleeping restlessly, and I sleep on my stomach, and my neck is not helping down to my elbow. It's like, alcohol is bad, man.
It's bad. But so anyways, long story short, I can see how people say that about cigarettes and between that and alcohol. But
culturally, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't kill you the way cigarettes did. Like, I think it probably won't get. I think people will probably drink less the more informed they get, and how we all just kind of advance. I don't think it'll get to the point of cigarettes, just because it's not.
I don't think in my head it's not as bad, but I could be totally wrong. So
he talks about something about that alcohol affects the frontal lobe, that
probably,
which is like, then he listed all the good things the frontal lobe does. Yeah.
Is that I think it's your personality, isn't it?
Yeah, and your empathy and stuff like that.
I don't need it.
I don't need that part of my brain.
It's all good. I just coach you through an interval. That's all I need
to. Peloton used to be on 23rd, right?
Yes.
And now you're up by the tunnel?
So we had two studios. One was at 23rd and one was in West Village. The Tread studio was in the West Village.
Oh, okay.
So I used to have to go from 23rd Street down to the West Village to teach a run.
And
then we're at Hudson Yards.
At Hudson Yards,
Hudson Yards.
When I drove in last night, I saw the big Peloton building.
So there's that. That's our headquarters.
That's headquarters?
That's where all the engineers and smart people sit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. What a big company.
It's pretty big.
God.
So that
massive.
Yeah, but it's it's definitely grown. I remember when I first joined, we'd have these like company lunch days, and I knew everyone in line. And then every week went by, and I was like, I don't know all these people anymore.
Right.
And before I knew it, we were out of those headquarters to a new headquarters.
Yeah.
And our joke for a while was like, everywhere we went to, we outgrew by the time we got in there.
Wow.
And then
Amazing.
yeah.
By the time you got in there.
Yeah, by the time we got in there, I was like, wow, this is already too small.
Jeez. That's crazy.
Even the locker rooms, like our last locker room was a joke. It was literally like a closet.
Right.
But you know, some of the best conversations would happen in that closet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh man. Do you feel like you'll never be able to leave because you have thousands of people that would follow you? And if you had ever left Peloton, they'd be like, "Coach, come back."
Oh man. It's who knows? I think that would
Do you feel the connection? Do you realize how many people you're helping?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Is it impactful?
It's awesome. It's as a coach to reach so many people, like it's like a dream. It's a dream job. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love that part of it.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
love it.
How do you like being recognized and stuff? Because you probably didn't get into exercise and fitness thinking,
yeah,
like as a comic, you want people to know you.
Yeah.
You probably didn't have that.
It was, that's funny. Is like, I never forget, like when Allie Love and I started at the same time.
Right.
And here's this person who's like built to be a star.
Yeah.
Like she is so beautiful and so great on camera. And then there's like me, who's like a curmudgeon, who's like, my first class, I'll never forget. Like I was so adamant. I'm like them not changing my posture on the bike because I ride outdoors, and I'm like, if you change your geometry on the bike too much, it messes up your performance. So I'm like, I had the Peloton bike built like my outdoor bike, so all you saw in the camera was the top of my head. I was just like, and I was like, oh man. And so anyways, Allie's first class, she looked beautiful and wonderful, and then there's me who's just like top of my head. So I forget what the question was. What was the question?
Being a star,
So I've had to learn about that. It's always great to be recognized for what you do.
Yeah.
And that people, as a coach, you eat, sleep, and breathe off feedback.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I really care if this is working for you.
Yeah.
If it's not working for you, then I'm wasting my time.
Right.
And because I'm not here to listen to myself talk.
Yeah.
I'm here to like make an impact and
Right.
to help people, and that's like what actually gets me excited.
Yeah. No, it's got to be.
So
It's
that's
helping a lot of people. The numbers are big.
It's fun, it's great, but it's also a challenge because I don't, when you work in a studio or you work one-on-one with an athlete, you're seeing their metrics, you're seeing the changes and everything along the way. But now with these masses of people, it's like, okay, well, I have to think about scalable solutions that impact people in relatively the same way.
But and then how do you know that it's working? Like, can you see the people's...
Well, I mean, feedback I see online, a lot of times Facebook, Instagram, like a lot of people message you, which is helpful. And then when I run into people on the street, that's also helpful. And then when people come to the studio and they talk to you about those things, but then there's also things like I try to build what we do and base what we do off what we know from science, but also what other, books have been written on. I don't believe that I should recreate the wheel as it comes to fitness. I think I should make the wheel better. And so a lot of what we do is been done by much higher level coaches than me.
Right.
And I just try to make it fun and accessible to everybody.
Right.
So I know it works. But
when you're doing the rankings of people,
leaderboard ranking?
Leaderboard.
Oh gosh.
It's so funny because the leaderboard, for the people who are listening, there's a number of people that are doing the workout, and it's literally like at the end of it, you can see where you ranked from all the people doing it. My goal is always to be in the top third.
Oh man.
I want to be in the top third of all of the people. And I stick completely to what you're saying of like in my zone, it's just my zone.
Yeah.
So I have to get to it. Like I can tell that people are cheating.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
And I know that you're aware of it when you're...
People are cheating.
They are cheating. Because I can tell when you'll tell people in the middle of the workouts, you'll say, it's important to recover, because we have what's coming up, and you don't want to just be like... so you can see when the people are there live, you can see what people are doing, right? Yeah. And people do that, right? Like when it drops to 1, to zone 1 when after the they're cranking it to stay up higher on the board. Yeah. Am I right or am I wrong?
You are right.
Yeah.
You are right.
Yeah,
right.
It's human nature.
But it's, I mean, it drives me nuts.
It does, right?
Oh, it drives me nuts. But at the same time, like, people evolve. Like, you're an athlete. Everyone's an athlete.
Right.
And it's like we all evolve and start to realize what matters and what doesn't.
Right.
And it's one of those things I try to instill in my athletes' heads, like, hey, like, this is measuring average output. The goal today is not to maximize average output. Our goal is to train in our zones and achieve specific targets.
Right.
And stimulate specific improvements.
Yeah.
And if you're going to chase the leaderboard, well, then you're going to get one type of workout. But if you do this, you'll get a different type of workout.
Right.
And so anyways.
Yeah, which I listen to.
It's like going to Central Park, right? And you're running. Yeah. You're running around Central Park. And then someone runs up next to you and wants to run faster than you. And I'm just like, are you the person that has to beat them? Or are you the person that says, hey, I'm working on this. Like, you have fun.
Yeah.
And like, as an athlete, you learn to like let those people go.
Right.
Because then when race day comes around and you smoke them.
Right.
Then you're like, hey, this is the day that it really matters.
Right, exactly.
And so like your FTP test is where it matters.
Right.
But like in training, it's like you have to be
follow the program.
You have to train smart.
Yeah.
So
it was funny when I used to live on the Upper East Side and would run the reservoir and stuff, and it was really that whole thing of like the different personalities trying to run on you and do these different things, and it was always it's similar to like traffic, like when people are going crazy. It's like you don't know how long the guy next to you has been running. Like you would have it too on your own. Like if you were to pass somebody, be like, that's cute. They could be on their 20th mile. You have no idea what they're doing. You just get up there like you're a big shot.
I was running one day and a guy decided he was going to race me. He was on a bike. He was on a city bike.
Yeah.
And I was running up Cat Hill running, and I guess he decided that he didn't like me beating him running. And I like just acted like I didn't see it, but I was like, this is hysterical. This guy is going nuts.
Right, exactly.
So I started egging him on a little bit. I started going like acting like I didn't see him, started pushing the pace a little bit. And I see this guy dying on a city bike. I'm like, this is crazy.
1,000-pound city bike.
Man, it was fun. So anyways, sometimes I live for those moments.
How do you like New York? How long you've been here since 2007?
2007, yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
How do you like it? Because you can tell that you're not a New Yorker born and bred.
Okay.
You're bright and sunny and happy and athletic, and you talk about coming from Atlanta and stuff. Yeah. But New York accepts all, and people fall in love with it. Where's your head on New York?
Oh, it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Right. I think that living in New York City is hard. Like, period. Like, everything is hard. Everything's a competition. Like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's a lot I love about it.
Yeah.
I love the diversity.
Yeah.
I love like diversity of everything, food, people, everything.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I think that I wish everyone in America had an opportunity to live in New York City for at least a year.
100%.
I think that they would see the world in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. So I love that.
Yeah.
And then from a fitness standpoint, there's a lot of great stuff going on here. I think that one of the things I told myself is like, I'm not leaving New York City until I have the career and the girl. Because I'm just like, I think this is the place where you can find the best of anything.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
And so and I always wanted I want it to be top of my career. I want it to be have an amazing, driven wife, which is what I definitely got.
Yeah.
And because that's a kind of like my sister and my mom are incredible, like hard driving, like motivated women, and that's what I'm attracted to. I love
What does
it.
your wife do?
She is a periodontist.
Nice.
And so she almost went for a second residency and then decided not to. And she's like that driven.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, a second residency.
Right.
So she's
good.
She's a rock star. So
yeah. Why is Peloton? How did Peloton end up in New York? Like.
Oh, so John Foley. That was John Foley.
Yeah.
Him and his those. I think so. He was working, and I guess they just decided they wanted to. They couldn't get into classes like group fitness classes. So they're like,
right.
Why can't we have access to group fitness classes all the time?
Yeah.
And so that's I think that's how it started. And
Right.
New York City is a fitness hub.
Yeah.
And everyone that lives in New York City, the quality of coaches and group fitness level here is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know of another place in the United States at the same level.
Wow.
And sorry, all my coaches out there, but like the density here is just insane.
Yeah.
And it was a very fun environment to be part of.
Man, it's like that with everything in New York. Like you were saying, like not only the diversity, like but anything that people go after, they go after it so much more intensely here.
And that's the thing is like from a career standpoint.
Yeah.
It's just like I've always been a hard worker.
Yeah.
And my parents. My mom used to tell me, she's like, you might not be the smartest, you might not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but you're a hard worker.
Right.
And that will trump a lot of things in your life.
Oh, 100%.
And so that's what I've always said. Like, even if I'm not getting this 100% right now, like, I'm going to outwork everybody.
Right.
And for better or for worse. And what I've learned later on in my life, my sister's husband taught me this, is like to work smarter and not always harder.
Yeah.
And that's been a hard pill for me to like swallow in my life.
Well, that takes experience. That takes time. Yeah. I mean, I have it too. Like in comedy, it's when you're young, you're just going nuts.
Right.
You just don't know any better. Then you realize, oh, no, there's a way to do this.
Yeah.
Without using it. It's like the Michael Jordan thing of like, it's like, why isn't he running back on defense? It's like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's pacing himself. He knows when it's going to have to really matter.
Yeah.
That analogy always sticks with me.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, that's New York City. I love how career driven everyone is here. It's can be good, but it also can be bad. But there's I love how driven everyone is here.
Yeah.
And that's addicting.
Yeah. It's intense. It's definitely. I grew up here, lived here my whole adult life. Then we went to LA, and when I had kids, we were back and forth for like 6 years, and then we landed in LA for the kids to do the rest of their schooling. Right. And it's hard because I love it here. This is my place.
You got the best of both worlds.
It's
now.
the best. I don't know if I could do full time back in New York. I don't know if I could give up the space. Is really the big
that's
thing.
The thing is like we're both like ready to leave the city.
Yeah.
But like I always want to have a foothold here for sure.
Yeah.
But like growing up in the suburbs and being able to run on trails and having more of an outdoors lifestyle. Like, that's definitely something I'm ready for.
Yeah.
But
you could do the thing where you get like the little place up in the Catskills.
Yeah, I want to. We're thinking about
bust out on the weekends.
Yeah,
that's always good.
I want to. We're playing around with the idea of moving outside the city, but then I see these commutes people deal with.
I know,
and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
I just came in from seeing my family out in New Jersey and came in last night, and I was like, that intensity of getting off 80 into the Lincoln Tunnel into the thing, and this wasn't even that bad.
Yeah,
and it's like you do that every day. I've got friends that do that every day. It's intense.
Yo, the traffic here, I'm sure you've seen traffic in LA for sure, but the traffic here and the way people act is totally different than anything I've ever seen in my life.
So insane.
My wife's like, you got to be more aggressive. I'm like, I don't know if I can be more aggressive. This is crazy.
I know. People
are like running over curbs. And I'm like, what? Did you buy that truck to just run over curbs?
Yeah. It's true. That competition thing goes to every single aspect of life. Brian Regan, this great comedian, has this great joke about being in an elevator in New York. He goes, in most places you go in and you press the button, you press your floor, and that's how an elevator works. And then you get into an elevator. New Yorkers get into an elevator and they press their floor, and then they press close.
Yes, that's right.
New York is a different place, he says. Special people.
Gosh, yeah. Growing up in the South, like the first thing I got nailed for in New York City was being too nice.
Yeah.
And I learned, the first thing I learned in New York City was not to have eye contact.
Yeah.
Like, and it was
just so weird.
It was so weird. And like in Georgia, it's just like, you make eye contact and that's how you say hello. And up here, like, people will take advantage of you for doing that.
Yeah, I know.
And so better not make eye contact.
I know, it's so weird. Yeah. Well, I got a sucker.
Oh, I know. So I learned the first day on the subway. Oh, you cannot do that. And I was just in my own head being like, oh, that can't happen again.
I know. That's so unnatural. I mean, because when I do run at home, it's a suburban part of LA, and I always feel like an ass because I'm running through like friendly Tommy waving to everybody. And I'm like, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yeah, that's how normal people are.
I'd say 50% of the people give you a response. That's bad. 50% is low.
LA is different too.
Yeah, it's very similar to New York in that way. There's like a guarded cynicism.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their own little movie.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And you're out there like, good morning. And they're like, like, that's not cool. Then you go to these other places on the road. You know, I tour a lot. And you go to these other places. And everybody's just so sweet. That makes your days different when people are just like, good morning.
I think it has to do with population density.
Yeah.
It's like if you're in a population dense area, people are just like, And then whenever you go to like a more of a rural area, it's like everyone, like even on the road, like cars passing, you're like, hey, and I'm like, I have no idea who you are, but sure, like,
right, yeah, exactly, yeah. There's something nice to that, though.
I know, I don't know. That's how I grew up, but I've kind of refused to let go of all of that. Yeah, and so everyone picks me out pretty quickly.
Yeah, but that's okay. I think that's better. I think it's better.
It's just who you are at a certain point.
I was doing, Gabby Reese,
yes,
in Laird Hamilton, their husband, wife, athletes. She was a model and a volleyball professional, and she's just amazing. Her podcast is great, and she's become a good friend, and they're just so motivated. Laird Hamilton, the surfer, is just like, he's working out in like Aquaman all the time, and they're just so great. And I was telling her that like the friendly thing, like waving and stuff, and I'm like, I used to be the guy on the elevator who would like talk to people, and I'm thinking maybe not, maybe I'm just supposed to look down and not say. And she says, don't lose it, don't do it. She like schooled me on it. She's like, this is the world we're in. We should be friendly. We should be having it. Don't let that side win. And I was on this elevator like that weekend in Dallas, going up to the lounge, and lounge people are all kind of competitive, and they're everyone's just kind of like, and I got on and I went, so where are you going today? No. And this woman responded, we got to go to this thing to my daughter's for the christening. And another curmudgeon, he starts laughing and goes, better than what I got to do. I got to go do this. And everybody, 6 people, started chatting. Within 2 floors, everybody dumped out like pals. We all had a nice little moment. Everybody, the whole thing changed. Yeah. So she was right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's sometimes you feel like you're swimming upstream with that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But you can't let them.
But the other thing that I've learned too, it's just like when you're constantly around people a lot. Mm-hmm. Sometimes now I've started to understand that like I really cherish silence sometimes, and just like when I'm in a car, a taxi cab driver talks to me like, I'm gonna talk back, and now I'm just like, I just don't want to talk at all right now. I just want silence.
I know.
So I can understand that part too, but But I grew up. My mom. We always joke. My sister and I used to joke is that she could have a conversation with a wall.
Oh, really?
She'd be the person in line at the grocery store, and the person had no clue she was even talking. She's like trying to start a conversation with the person in front of her, and she just like starts talking to herself. Like, it's like. And then the production team at Peloton's like, they call it the gift of the gab. Uh-huh. I'm like, she's like, you got the gift of the gab, man. I'm like, is that a compliment? I don't know.
It is good though, but you're really good at that. You have a real good talent of that on these workouts, because some of like the endurance ones, there's space.
Oh yeah.
There's 6 minutes of we're all just in zone 2, just cruising for a while. Yeah. And you have a really good balance of keeping us interested, giving us some facts, just having some fun. Okay. There's not like other times when you're in those situations and it's a lot of dead air, but you have the way you do it's different.
I try to keep it. The formula I learned in coaching outdoors was that when I could get people to show up at 5 o'clock in the morning, if I gave them an effective workout, taught them something, and we had a little fun.
Yeah.
And those were the 3 things.
Yeah.
It's like
it's great.
and that's like every class I teach try to teach something.
Yeah.
Give them effective workout and make it a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
And if I can do that, I think that's the win.
Oh, you nail it. That's so funny. I just see like, he just does that naturally, but of course it's all thought out.
try to, but it's
Yeah.
At the same time, it's things connect differently with everyone. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
but then and then the fun part. What's fun for me, I learned is not necessarily fun for everybody else. So I'd like to play to that too.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like I'm about to go on a ski trip where I'm hiking up hills and skiing down them for a week, and to me that's exciting.
Yeah.
Most people are like, that sounds like misery. So I don't know. So anyways, I had to figure out like, what is fun? So
Yeah.
And then music is quite possibly the hardest part of my job, and it's like making people happy with music is just you're never gonna win.
Do people complain?
Oh yeah.
Do they really?
If that's the one thing I hear all the time, but it's just like I've gotten better and better at it. But you're just never gonna win. You have to accept that as a coach.
What are the complaints?
Oh, more classic rock or more this, more that.
Oh, really?
There's just always something, and it's really hard to nail it. But the thing is, like I try to like, how can I please the most amount of people?
Yeah.
And like still make myself happy.
Yeah. No, you did a great job of it. I think just more diversity of that is always great. It's like, I don't normally listen to that, but now it's fun to get like a little in there.
Yeah, and that's why I started doing that all request ride on Saturdays, because I was like, early on, everyone I was encountering this, and I'm like, you know what? Like y'all make requests, and I will see what you got. Number one, all the songs that came in, I was just like,
yeah,
I'm gonna pick the artist. We're gonna go. I'm gonna find something else.
I love when you refuse to put like a real filthy
song
on.
I can't do that.
Yeah,
I can't.
Good for you.
That's the Georgia boy in me, I guess.
Yeah, it's so much better. So much better. You're like, you said that the other day. Like I tried and I just couldn't. I couldn't find a clean enough version of this.
Camila Ramon. She's always trying to get me to play something that's like completely explicit.
Yeah.
She's like, you have to play this, and I'm like, it sounds good, but I can't.
I really can't do it.
I can't live. I won't be able to live. I won't live that one down.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean you can't make everybody happy with that stuff. That's impossible. And I like that it's all different. I mean, I grew up on classic rock.
Yeah.
But I don't need to listen to The Who and Led Zeppelin every day on the bike. I'd like to listen to something that I don't know.
I mean, as a comedian, you must run into the same problem. Like, how do you connect? So, like, when you come up with content, like, it's like you have to be broad but specific. Like, that must be really hard.
Yeah. There's that balance of I'm trying to please them, but I'm also expressing what I want to express. So it's that balance. To say that I completely only think about myself would be dishonest. I do want to make them happy as well, but I can't just pander and try and make everybody happy all the time either.
Yeah.
I just have to be myself. People are showing up because I'm enjoying what I'm doing, right? So you got to kind of like use that as the main driver. That's the main engine. And then but I'm not beyond pandering either.
I think that's such like an important lesson that everyone could learn from like us.
Yeah.
Is that like, I don't know. I feel like I'm better at what I do because I, stay authentic to myself.
Yeah. 100%.
And like, and that's what we're taught at Peloton. Like all the management's like, just be you. And like,
it's true.
And then like you're saying the same thing, and it's just like I think that sometimes we get caught up trying to be other people, and it's just like just be yourself.
No, 100%. It would be so bizarre if all of a sudden you were on the bike and turned into one of the teachers that's like flirting with the camera.
You never know, that could happen tomorrow.
Like it would be so bizarre. They have that. They can go find that. Then they it's so much better.
I think some of my favorite classes when I was like impersonating Cody or impersonating Olivia.
Yeah.
I was just like, how would it feel to be a day in the shoes of Cody Rigsby? And I wrote down his lines from a class.
Right.
And I said these. And I was like, I cannot believe I'm saying this to camera right now. This is crazy. So it was so much
a different character.
It's so much fun, but it's like it's not me, but it's fun. So.
Oh, it's good. All right, so I'm really not going to be able to call you every week as my coach. So
We can find one.
Well, let's get some last tips before
All
you
right.
go. How many times on the bike a week?
Minimum 3.
Minimum 3.
Well, so number one, identify what your goals are, right? And like
So look hot
look hot,
and stay alive.
look hot, stay alive. All right. So think cardio, think strength, think mobility. And for mobility, I'll also say like stability.
Yeah.
But like, there's
Balance.
Balance is important, but we could also get some balance work from like strength training if you're ever doing like single leg anything. But anyways, that's super important. But I think having a healthy balance of, so like if you're just training for life, I call it, like I'll hear a lot of people like, I'm training for life.
Mm-hmm.
Think cardio, think strength, think mobility, stability. And then also you have to wrap it into a great lifestyle. Like it can really help.
Yeah.
Like if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. If you're not recovering, you're not absorbing any of the benefits of what you're doing.
That's the biggest lesson I got from this interview.
Oh, okay, cool.
For real.
Okay.
That is a mental shift. I really didn't think, I always thought, okay, you do your stuff, but then you work out and you're going to be, but like all that the time when you're not working out is almost as valuable.
Yeah. A lot of coaches,
that's a shift.
A lot of coaches will actually put on your schedule off day as a training day and being like, I actually want you to do nothing because this is actually really important that you do nothing because you doing nothing means your body's recovering and that's going to help you get ready for next training session.
Right.
Whereas a lot of people think that recovery is weak or I'm not doing anything or like it's
lazy.
And that's counterintuitive actually.
Yeah.
So you have to think about, the quality of your recovery is super important. How's alcohol impact that?
Yeah.
How's your nutrition impact? Are we thinking and making a transition from food as a reward to food as fuel?
Right.
And it's like, okay, if we're using food as fuel, you're going to feel better. You're going to perform better in your workouts and everyday life.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people really like to think about food as a reward.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is we all deserve rewards for a lot of things. And so if you have that mentality where you're going to constantly have a reason to eat a cheeseburger or stuff your face with ice cream every day.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the healthiest thing. No,
and the problem with our culture is that we really, I don't know how it happened, but we really have this mentality that we should get rewards for basically everything that we do. Like everything. My friend was dialing in his fitness and he was like, why does every meal have to be a celebration? We're in this food culture, which I love. I love baking. I love, I love celebrating all this, but not every single meal has to be Christmas Eve.
So when I was coaching, this is one of the things I discovered when I went from being a college athlete to being a coach, caught in the real world, was that my athletes would finish the workout and they'd be like, I deserve this like horrible meal. And I'm like,
right.
You're just sabotaging everything we just did. Like,
right. Yeah.
You're not helping yourself in any way. Like, in fact, you're putting yourself back.
Yeah.
So, like, why wouldn't you just go get a really great meal that's, like, nutritious? And we call it nutrient density.
Right.
Like, high in nutrient density to help your body absorb what you just did so that when you come back to train, you're going to feel even better.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And then, but then, like, you have to shift your mentality and think about, well, and what I would love my athletes to think about is like, okay, well, let's go for a reward. Let's go get a massage. Let's go, some kind of like go to a spa.
Right.
Treat your body that way.
Right. Exactly.
So
it's that human condition.
The
rewards are always drinking, mac and cheese.
Oh, when I was an auditor, the reward was like, oh, we finished busy season. Let's go go to the bar and they'd buy us all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, I would really just like to go home and sleep. And maybe you could take that money and give me a bonus.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go have a great workout tomorrow. That's But I the way I made my way through public accounting is I told them I was allergic to all these things.
You did?
I told them I was allergic to like a lot of dairy products, so I didn't have to eat all the pizza. And like all these other things, they gave me a side stipend to get my own food because I was like, I don't want to eat all this stuff. So they're like, Matt's got all these crazy allergies.
Yeah,
like,
you literally have to like lie to people like
Yeah.
Like when
That's the only way I could get out of it.
I'm seeing a friend tonight, and we're going to see my other friend perform, and I know we're gonna roll. I haven't seen her in a while, and she's going to want to meet before and want to have a drink before.
Yeah.
And I'm in trouble. And all day long, I'm thinking, oh, I can get around it. I'll just have a water or whatever. It's not gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna walk in. She's gonna be like, "Come on." I'll be like, "All right."
Well, and that's the other thing is like when you're coaching athletes one-on-one that you learn
Yeah.
is that, and this is nothing against you and your friend, but this is just like the people that we situations we put ourselves into
Yeah.
really can direct our health in one way or another. And so like when I used to go public accounting and visit these folks up in upstate New York, I'd
Yeah.
be like, hey, instead of going out to eat, let's go for a workout. I'll meet you at 6 a.m. for a workout.
Right.
And we meet the client for a workout. And that was our time together.
Ah,
And
interesting.
this is great.
Yeah, that is great.
So, but maybe you guys go for a walk. No.
Maybe.
I don't know. Sometimes a walk down the West Side Highway is great.
Yeah, it is great. You don't know my friend. She's like a New Yorker who lives up Manhattan, who's before the show, and well, you pick your battles, I guess.
You have to pick your
You
battles.
just got to pick them.
So,
So 3 times at least.
So know what if you're trying to move the needle in something, know what that is. If
Yeah.
you're trying to move the needle in your cardio, like I always say, have those 3: strength, mobility, stability, and then cardio. And which one are we trying to move the needle in? Let's pick one. Let's pick cardio. You still need to do the other 2.
Right.
But let's pick one to do extra intensity or volume in, and the other 2 you sort of keep like complementary.
Right.
And then work in like 6, 8, 12, 24, whatever week blocks.
Right.
And then you pivot to the other one and then pivot to the other one.
Oh, that's smart.
That way you keep your training fresh.
Right. Yeah.
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah, that is a great way to
But
do it.
so if you're thinking 3 days of cardio, you could do 3 days of cardio and then you could do, 3 days of strength.
Mm-hmm.
But the strength, if you're trying to move your cardio, the strength work is going to have to be lighter intensity and volume because
Right.
you don't want to interfere with the gains you're trying to make in cardio.
Right.
So you always have to think about, are my complementaries interfering with my primary?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so that's when you need to make those decisions. But it's helpful to have like a primary focus.
Right.
But I think I like the power of 3. And if you're trying to focus on bumping up your cardio and you have space to do 4 or 5 workouts a week, even better.
Yeah.
But I think you have to have 3 good quality days as like a minimum.
I think I gotta shift it to strength.
Strength is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
You see improvements quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. The problem when you get older is you lose it just as quickly.
True, but at the same time, like as men age, we lose muscle mass, and muscle mass, like obviously strength, but also the mobility, and that's why mobility is super important.
Yeah.
Like otherwise, you're gonna lose that range of motion.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get aches and pains.
Yep.
And so that's countering with strength it really helps you feel great
Right.
and help prevent injuries.
Yeah. Man, if only we had time to work out all the time.
Yeah,
We didn't have jobs.
that's hard too.
Yeah.
I think people think that being a pro athlete's like this fun blah blah blah. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You got to find a way. You have to sacrifice all these things we just talked about. These
That's
meetings with your
right.
friends.
That's right.
Like, yeah, it can't happen because you got to train the next day.
They literally can't happen.
They can't do that.
You have to have no friends.
A lot of sacrifice. Yeah, it can be lonely at the top
Yeah.
because you can't do a lot of these things.
No, exactly. It all comes to sacrifice. But I have to say, it really, like, from the mental health of going through the pandemic and doing that stuff to discovering, like, the more you get in shape, you can see the impact of the negative things,
Yeah.
the alcohol, or just eating something like really shitty or processed food.
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh.
God, when you walk away from processed food and come back, have like one like little bag of something, you feel,
Yeah.
you can feel it. It's just so toxic.
Yeah.
It's so bad. All these things lead to waking up in a better way tomorrow. Like your morning is going to be so much nicer. If you just do the right things, you're going to
Feel better.
feel better.
As Alex Toussaint says, feel better, look better, do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much focused on look better, but
Yeah. yeah, no,
that ship is.
I mean, your mental clarity is a whole nother level too.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's for me, that's the biggest thing. It's like mentally, mentally and physically, how are you doing? But it's just like mentally, you're feeling much better.
Oh, 100%. That really, honestly, that's what I was telling people during the pandemic. It was like, I'm exercising. It's not really weight. My blood pressure's fine. It's just mental. I do this just for my head.
Yeah.
That was the biggest impact.
There's a lot of people so it's crazy because a lot of people that decide they want to, so I call it, there's exercise and there's like training. And there's a lot of people that make this transition from exercising to training. A lot of people exercise for their minds.
Mm-hmm.
So they get in the habit of doing the same thing, the same workout every single day because they know that they're going to feel great mentally.
Yeah.
But then when they want to actually see some kind of performance improvement, well, then you have to break that up. You have to work in blocks, strength, cardio, all those things. And that's a hard transition for them to make.
It is hard.
They learn to rely on exercise so much to manage their mental state.
Yeah, and it's hard because the other way you're just doing it rote. You don't have to think. You have to plan it ahead.
You do.
There's nothing more.
And that's what coaches are great to have. Man.
Yeah, because there's nothing more paralyzing than not knowing what the workout's going to be today.
Yeah.
That's when I run into trouble where it's like, I guess I could run or I could do it, and then you're talking yourself out of it. It becomes this thing where if you just know today's the day we do that hour-long thing, you don't think about it. You have to treat yourself like a mule. That's why I love Power Zone. It's really because it's so it's all thought out. You've done all the work for me.
That's the goal.
It's a huge thing.
That's the goal. It's like I don't want. If you've noticed, I tell you what the workout is in the intro. I tell you again during the warm up. I tell you again before we start the main set. And then as we go through it, I tell you what's in front of you. Because I always want you to feel in control and knowing what's happening so that you can manage yourself appropriately.
100%.
And that de-stresses yourself as an athlete tremendously.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
And you do such a great job of that. A lot of teachers don't remind you as you're going because you do lose track. You're just kind of like, where are we headed? What's next?
Because you get so into an interval or an effort or just making it through that zone 6 interval that you're like, oh, I forgot what's happening. And then you need to be reminded. And so I think that's helpful.
I got to go back and tackle that one.
You got to crush it.
I got to
own that workout.
Like I said, I'm always trying to be in the top third. I don't I'm not eyeballing because I'm doing it in LA, so it's always after. It's never live. So it's just like, I just get it as a surprise at the end, like where did I land?
Got it.
And it usually just kind of works out that way.
Okay.
And this one I was like dead half. I was like, I wasn't in the top third. I was barely in the top half.
But you're able to hit those zone 6 intervals, right?
I was able to hit them. I couldn't hang for 2 minutes.
What? Oh, man.
I'm telling you, it was the worst performance I've had. And the whole time I was thinking, I was excited to see you. I was like, this is, can't wait to tell them how I kicked ass on this one. But because I had that shitty steak night and the whole thing, and then got to start late. There's a lot of excuses, but it was the worst one. It was so bad. All right, last question. How do you feel about supplements? How do you feel about vitamins, supplements? Is there stuff for your brain, for your body? Do you take stuff?
I do. I think there's few good supplements, lots. I don't know. I'm not a believer in all supplements.
Mm-hmm.
I do. There's obviously, I think as you get older, protein is super important. So I make sure I'm getting enough protein in. BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, a lot more.
As supplements, not in diet?
As something it's important in your diet. Like as much as you can get through your natural organic foods, that's the best. That's always the best.
Right.
But then you have to make sure that you're getting in everything else as well. All your vitamins as well. And so I do a multivitamin. I drink AG1. I've enjoyed that. But yeah, so do that. And then I work with every once in a while I see a dietitian nutritionist. Uh-huh. So every year I'm doing my blood panels with my doctor, seeing what's good, what could be better, talking to a dietitian nutritionist to see what supplements can really help me shore those up. And then the dietitian nutritionist is great at pointing you in the right direction of quality supplements,
right? Versus
just whatever junk's on the shelf.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important that, that we're all proactive in our health and wellness.
Yeah, I know it really makes sense. Like, it should expand from beyond, because I've gotten so much from you as my coach on Peloton. I mean, it really is. It's life changing. It was like, it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. So like, why wouldn't I then seek out somebody for nutrition?
Well, wouldn't you rather just go to bed at night thinking like I'm doing everything I can do to be as healthy as I can be?
Yeah.
And really, if you're doing great in the fitness space, well, why not do great in all these other areas around that actually influence you in the fitness space? And it's just like, you might as well button that up and make it good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of supplements, I'm not the person that's going to sit here and recommend supplements for everything, because the way medicine is moving, it's moving just like fitness has always moved, to being customized to the individual.
Yeah.
It's like, I can provide a workout for everybody, but in powers and training, we've realized that when someone does a test and they're working out at intensities that make sense for them, well, the changes that they're going to see are exponentially better than it would be if you were training at the same intensity for everybody.
Right.
And that's the same thing with health and wellness.
What about testosterone?
I'm not taking any tea. I had a doctor ask me. He goes, "You're a gym guy." I'm like, I don't know if I'm a gym guy, but yeah. He goes, "You popping some tea?" I'm like, "Some tea? What's the tea, man?" He goes, "Testosterone." I'm like, "No, I haven't did that."
I have a friend that just got on it.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, if the doctor recommends it because you have a deficiency, okay.
It's not a deficiency. It's like, my doctor says, like, yeah, you're at your right level. And my buddy's like, yeah, for your age, you want to be at the right level when we were 20. I'm like, I don't know. And he said it up to sex drive, and his wife was like, it's horrible.
It's horrible. Well, there's some side effects, but I'll save those for the explicit version of this.
Yeah, but people are moving to it. People are.
Well, I think that you should always, why are you moving to it?
Right.
And are you seeking proper advice?
Yeah.
For that?
Right.
But then also understanding what are the consequences for that too.
Yeah.
There are consequences.
They don't know. Let me ask you about that one.
What's that?
Ozempic.
Ozempic, cool.
All that stuff. I saw Professor Galloway was saying that it's going to have the biggest economic impact of any product.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to change people's life. It's going to change their heart. It's going to change their knee replacements. It's going to change so much for so many people. But don't you feel like we don't know enough about that yet?
I mean, like going to pre-medical school, Matt, I'd say like I'm really interested in the long-term, like better understand the long-term effects of it. And I'm always going to be the last person to jump in on something when it's like not well understood.
Yeah.
And creatine used to be that way. Like,
right.
People used to be jumping in on creatine, and I'm like, oh, that could be hard on the liver. There's a lot of things that could impact it. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna like hang out and watch what happens. Yeah. And that's kind of what I would say about Ozempic. I would hang out and just take a moment, take a breath.
Yeah.
And let's make sure I'm the last person. I'm not a doctor. I'm a coach.
Yeah.
So I can't speak to the science behind it. But at the end of the day, whatever gets people moving and healthy, I'm excited about.
Yeah, for people that are really in trouble, I could see like I always am leery of anything you have to do till the end of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like once you stop it, it's over. That kind of thing. It's like
true. The thing I've learned, like sometimes it's just getting over a hump.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like
changing it up
and finding that healthier lifestyle. Like a lot of times for heavier weight individuals, like running is not even an option,
right? Because
the impact on your joints.
Yeah.
And so that's like you can walk, but it's like running is going to just destroy your joints.
Yeah.
And so getting him over that hump to be able to do that, okay, like I understand that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you just know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody knows.
Yeah. So
I like that guy that wrote that book on slow running. Did you see that guy?
Oh yeah, I think I read that.
He's like a heavier guy, and he's like, he just wanted to run. He said the only way I can do it and not mess up my joints is go super slow. So he's just out there just chugging.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's a lot a lot of people, especially talking about zone 2 work and how important it is, and like the lower intensity work, and like there's another book, I think it's called 80-20. I think it's 80-20. 80% low intensity, 20% high intensity.
Right.
Which is like a magic formula for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said about lower intensity work, and it's great for your heart.
Yeah. Just keep going.
Yeah, it's great for your heart, great for your muscles, everything.
Right. Well, this was amazing. It was really great
Thanks
to
for
finally
having me.
meet you. This was amazing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Anything you need to know about bread or comedy?
I don't know. Wait, so tell me how you made this bread.
I didn't make that bread.
What?
I got it from Vesuvio. No,
Oh,
I'm
that's
in New
right.
York.
Okay.
When you come to LA, I'll give you bread.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You don't have to eat it. If you,
Oh, no, I love bread.
you can give it to your friends.
I'm a fan of carbs.
All right.
And so I will be eating this bread for sure. And my wife will probably have half of it.
So, Matt, we've spent 227 weeks together.
Okay.
So
I'm looking forward to the next 227.
Yeah, we'll keep it going.
Please keep me posted.
All right, I will. You're the
Let me
best.
know if you need to call you up, get you out of. What are you doing this week? What are we planning on?
I know, exactly. I need a hotline.
I need a hotline.
Yeah, is that like a level of Peloton?
I don't know.
You get Matt's personal phone number?
I think that might be where we take AI.
Right. Yeah, a hologram of you just showing up.
Pocket coach Matt Wilpers. So.
Well, you're the best.
Thank you so much,
man.
I appreciate
All
it.
right.
Absolutely.